Welcome to Chanel's reality. Look, I gotta put my camera on because I have it covered. Um, I'm Chanel, and this is my reality. So listen, let's see. Do I want this background? Hold on. Um, I don't think I want this background. So let's take this virtual background off. Okay, perfect. So listen, I wanted to come on here today and talk to you guys about this ongoing saga with Sean, what is it? Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Um, it's a hot ass mess. Um, so we're gonna cover, well, let me say this. Let me say this first. Everything on Chanel's reality is in my opinion. It is for entertainment purposes only, and it is all alleged. Okay. So today I want to talk about some of the things that have been said by Diddy's attorney, by one other celebrity. Well, so D.L. Hughley has some things to say, and Ray J, he's just annoying. I lost all respect for Ray J. Not that I had a ton of respect for him, but I also want to talk about how some people, or especially Diddy's attorney and others, are trying to make it seem as though what's happening to Diddy is somehow the American government is trying to come against this Black professional man who is successful and, prominent and influential and all these things. And it's all a lie. It's buffoonery. That's what it is. It's buffoonery. Let me turn off my little. I'm gonna turn off this thing. Sorry. I don't know if that was loud or not. But it's buffoonery and it's malarkey and it's I failed. Listen, this wig. Listen, is it supposed to be this way? Me and this wig. Okay. Listen, I know I need to get a new wig. This is definitely a struggle wig. This wig is like probably 10 years old, and I'm sure it looks like it. But I feel like they're trying to tap dance on intelligent people's intelligence, on smart people's intelligence. And you know what? You're just not gonna do it over here on Chanel's reality. We're not doing it. We use both sides of our brains, in the words of Mims. Make it make sense. Go over to Mims, support his channel. I love me some Mims. Um, and shout out to Kempire. I love Kempire too. He did a video today, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but TMZ did like this, in my opinion, rush to straight to DVD type of documentary called, I think, The Downfall of Diddy. And it's just kind of like, it's one of those things. To me, it comes across as we just want to be the first. We don't have to get it right. We don't have to be accurate in what we're saying. We just want to be the first to do it. So I say that to say this because Kempire, I was watching him earlier and he was like, he had like 5 seconds in there. And so shout out to Kempire. Yay. If you haven't checked out Kempire, he's also a really good content creator on YouTube. So I also want to talk about why the entire entertainment community is on mute. Like everybody's on mute. I can't understand it. I have never in my life, one time, seen such atrocities be shown to the American people and really to the world. And everybody in the whole entertainment industry has nothing to say. How is that possible? How is that possible? A lot of people are saying that Clive Davis is the reason that Diddy is the way he is, and Diddy learned everything from Clive Davis, and that Diddy was taken advantage of by Clive Davis, and therefore that's Diddy's response um, is to do the same thing. And I just want to make this very clear. Just because someone has been violated in a sexual manner does not in any way mean that that person then is going to go and violate other people. So get that out your head. I know there are studies out there that say, oh, well, if a woman or whomever has been violated as a child or at a young age, then therefore they're going to be more promiscuous and things like that. That also has nothing to do with people being violated. It doesn't. It has to do with who you are as a person, period. So if you were going to be promiscuous, you were going to be promiscuous anyways. It has nothing to do with someone, violating you. If anything, you probably um, will pull back from that type of behavior. Think about it. Logically, why, if someone has violated you in this sexual manner, would you go forward and do those types of things? That's not to say that those people are not sexual. That's not to say that those people won't have an active sexual lifestyle. That's not to say that, because this is my personal opinion. This isn't on a study, any study that I've read. But when you think about it, once you open that door and you've experienced a orgasm, you can't close that door back. It's what it is. It's what it is. So, and that's if whoever violated you wasn't rough. It doesn't see. I think people always view, and I think this is just because of the way it's presented in movies, is that there's some person who appears in the dark and with a knife and or a weapon, let me say it like that, and then they violate you. It doesn't always happen that way. That's why they use words like grooming, which means, hey, you're kind of warming the person up to this idea of being violated, or you're tricking them into it. Kind of like very similar to what R. Kelly allegedly did to Aaliyah. I don't know why I'm saying allegedly, because I believe it wholeheartedly, but we'll just say allegedly. Where it's not this extreme forceful situation. It's just over time, you know? And so you warm the person up to the idea of this happening to them. And if you're good at it, you almost can make them think that they're the reason, they are the ones that want this. That's why they call it grooming. But I just really want I want people to stop with this shenanigans about, well, Diddy's doing this because this was done to him. No, Diddy is doing or has done whatever Diddy has done because that's what Diddy wanted to do. It doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. It's a decision. And be clear, even after Cassie successfully sued him, he still went on about his way, allegedly, continuing on the debauchery. It just is what it is. So people like him, I just want to say this. Let me say this too. What's going to be shown on this live and or talked about can be triggering. So if you've been violated in some way, or you've witnessed someone else being violated, it could be very triggering for you. And so I just want to put that, warning out there. I also want to say that if for whatever reason you're in crisis, it doesn't have to be related to what's going on with Diddy or anybody like that. But if you are in crisis, then you can call or text 988. They have people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. So there's someone you could either text with or talk with regarding whatever you may be having a crisis with. And it doesn't have to be something like this. Like I said, it could just be you're struggling with your own sexuality. It could be you're struggling with your mom not wanting to let you go out, or you're failing at school, or you're just lonely. It could be whatever it is that you feel like is causing crisis for you. There's help out there. So I just want to put that out there. And as I said before, everything on Chanel's Reality is for entertainment purposes only. It is in my opinion, and it is all alleged. Okay. So first, I want to get into. Oh, I don't know if I said to you guys. I want to talk to you guys, or let you listen to some of the statements that Diddy's attorney has made that are just. They want to paint this picture. It's so annoying, but they want to paint this picture that Diddy's a victim. And be very clear and intentional when you listen to some of these people that come out and are trying to defend Diddy. Watch what they say, or when they're trying to defend any person who's a sexual predator. They have a million questions for the victims. Why were you there? Why didn't you leave? You knew what he was about, this, that, and the third. Or they blame them. Oh, you decided to stay with that man. You wanted to come up. It was a money grab, all of the things. But they don't have those same ideas for the perpetrators. Why is that? Why are you so quick to blame the victim or the alleged victim? But you have no questions for the alleged perpetrator. You want to dig into this lady's past or whoever the victim is past and talk about what they did and whatever else, but you don't have no question. With the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator, they want to wait and see. Okay, they want to let it play out. Everybody has their day in court, and they, at least in America, are presumed innocent until proven guilty. But it's only when there's some sort of sexual crime going on that we want to do that. There's statutes of limitation for victims, right? So if you've been a victim of a sexual crime, each state has a different statute. And you should ask yourself, if you've never asked yourself this, why is it that our government has decided, however many years ago, that if you're a victim of a sexual crime, we have to put a limitation on how long you have to bring any sort of justice against the perpetrator. We need to limit you because we can't have this perpetrator waiting, until they're 50 and they have a whole family and they've established themselves in the community. Now they're professionals or whatever it is. We don't have the time. We can't make them be, sitting with this hanging over their head for their whole life until you're ready to come out and tell the story. We can't wait for the victim. We must have them. We got to limit you because this man is going on with his life and he's become an attorney or he's become a rapper. Or he's a whatever it is he is. He's a pastor now. He's Boy Scout, whatever it is. He's a successful businessman. We can't ruin this man's career. We can't have this hanging over his head for the rest of his life. How dare you? Should have came out 30 years ago when it happened to you. That's the toxic conditioning that people don't even realize they're under it. That's toxic conditioning. And for women, especially, for those of you who will sit on the internet and come at victims and say they should have done this, that, and the third, and you would have done this, that, and the third, imagine you're Cassie. Imagine you feel like you're kidnapped and trapped. Imagine you're a person who is trying to go up against a media, or not a media, but a super successful entertainment giant when you already know the laws and the statutes already say we don't really believe you. And even if we do, we're going to limit your time to come forward and say anything about what happened to you. So you have everything working against you as a victim and everything working for you as a perpetrator. It's just what it is. Go look it up. Go read the policies. Who set them up? We didn't. Women didn't even have rights when we came. Listen, we're second class citizens. It just is what it is. We're the first second class citizens or third class citizens on the planet. It just is what it is. We've always been on some level behind the eight ball. Always. So the men made the rules. And I'm not bashing men. I'm just telling you the truth. They made the rules. We weren't there. We didn't have rights. We couldn't even vote. Like, let's stop. So, but anyways, I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole today. So let's listen to some of the things that Diddy's been accused of. Let me see if I can pull it up. I won't even do this one. Let me go back. I want to do that one. I think I want to do. Um, where did my little... Hmm. I had a little video and it went away. Where did you go, little video? Oh, okay. This is the video. Okay, here we go.
It's in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, up against some intense federal charges. But by all accounts, Diddy's planning to put up a fight in the way of a legal defense, and that's headed by New York defense attorney Mark Agnifilo. So who is Agnifilo? We'll take a deeper dive into his history and potential plans for his defense of Diddy. I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News. It's now been more than a week since 54-year-old Sean P. Diddy Combs has been behind bars, accused of multiple federal charges. Last week, a grand jury indicted Diddy, and he was charged with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy pleaded not guilty to these charges and requested bail twice, offering up $50 million for his release that would be co-signed by Diddy, his sister, his mom, his...
Okay, hold on. Let me put her back on the screen. Hmm.
racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Diddy pleaded not guilty to these charges and requested bail twice, offering up $50 million for his release that would be co-signed by Diddy, his sister, his mom, his 3 adult sons, and the mothers of 2 of his children. On top of that, the defense also suggested Diddy would have major restrictions on travel, a GPS monitor, and even limitations on female visitors. But U.S. District Judge Andrew L. Carter gave that the red light and denied Diddy's release. Instead, he ruled Diddy will remain in custody as he awaits trial. Diddy's been placed at MDC in Brooklyn, one of the most notorious jails in the country. Diddy's team immediately pushed back, citing recent murders, suicide, and deplorable conditions at MDC. His legal team requests that Diddy be transferred to a different jail in New Jersey. And the point person behind that request and Diddy's team is defense attorney Mark Agnifilo. If that name is familiar to you, it may be because you've heard it before. He's repped several high-profile defendants, like the NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere and Roger Ng, a former Goldman Sachs banker convicted of bribery and money laundering. We'll get to those cases.
Okay. So one of the things that Law and Crime, and they're also I would say, reputable site to visit on YouTube, because obviously they're attorneys, and so they understand how to interpret the law and can kind of give you a good breakdown of things that are going on. And typically attorneys and people that work in the law field understand how to manipulate information and all those types of things. But I found that this particular content creator site is seemingly to me very legitimate and can give you a good breakdown of what's going on. So one of the things that she says, and one of the things that Diddy has been accused of, is called racketeering. And so I went online and minded my own business and decided, okay, let's figure out exactly what that definition is. So I want to share it with you guys what racketeering is, at least what the Google says it is. Okay. So let's just read it real quick. It says that racketeering is a broad term that refers to a pattern of illegal activity that is carried out for a profit. It is not a specific crime, but rather a way to prosecute a variety of illegal activities that are often associated with organized crime. So that's what they're referring to when they say Diddy's being charged with racketeering. Because sometimes, words can be thrown out there and we're like, what the hell does that mean? So that's what it means. It's, from what I can see on the internet, it's a catch-all term so that they can charge you with all kinds of things. And when they refer to organized crime, you know how you've seen the movies, the mob movies, that's a form of organized crime. They're out here, either selling illegal or illicit drugs, committing crimes, uh, violating people. An example of racketeering would be, how you've heard about, let's say, a gang in a neighborhood, and the gang has taken over and got people in fear, and they're going around saying, maybe you have your mom owns a flower shop or a taco stand, whatever. All of those people, um, a lot of times, if racketeering is going on, they will strong arm you or treat you violently or threaten you and basically come and say, you owe us X amount of dollars if you're going to have your taco stand, or if you're going to have, your daycare or whatever it is that you're planning to have. It's extortion, and it's a whole bunch of different things. But I wanted to, share that with you guys so that people have a good understanding of what. Because sometimes if you don't understand what someone's being charged with, you can minimize it as if it's not that big of a deal. And Diddy's attorney has done, it's beyond laughable in my opinion. So I want to share what Diddy's attorney has been saying about what's going on with Diddy. So let me pull it up for you guys really quickly. Um,
I'm going to leave you and go see him now. And his resolve is strong. He's engaged. He's focused on his defense. And we see him every day. And he is come to terms with the fact that this is where he is for now. We are trying to get this matter to trial as soon as possible.
So this, I just want to share, is on TMZ's website. This is TMZ's attempt, in my opinion, because they have a whole documentary called "The Downfall of Diddy," I believe is the name of it, or something to that effect. But you can go on their website and look it up and view the whole documentary. And to me, it feels like, who wants to go first? I don't necessarily. This is how the documentary reads to me. It's not necessarily bad or good, but it is, who's the first. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel like we want to make sure that everything is accurate. It's just, we want to be the first. That's my opinion of it. And so his attorney is stating all kinds of things, like I think his attorney states that Diddy wants to testify. I know I heard him say that at one point, and that Diddy believes that he's not guilty. He believes in his own innocence. That's why I titled this video "Delusional," because Diddy's delusional. And I think I pulled up the definition of delusional. Let me see. I have it somewhere. What is the definition of delusional? Hold, please. I know I have it somewhere. Let's see. Um, okay, so I'm going to share this with you guys so that way everybody knows the definition, what we're talking about the reason why I call him delusional. Let's share it. I don't know why, guys, but I have a headache today. It's weird. Child, listen. Okay, so Google says delusional means having an what does it say? Oh, let me go back because it minimizes it on my end when I try to read it. Okay, it says delusional means having an unshakable belief in something that is untrue or impossible. It can refer to a mental illness or be used more generally to describe unrealistic behaviors. So, delusional, also another definition says a delusional person believes things that couldn't possibly be true. If you're convinced that the microwave is attempting to control your thoughts, you are sadly delusional. So I'm going to use that for Diddy and his attorney because they are attempting to delude the public. They want to believe, it's a mosquito. They want us to believe that all of these people are just making this up. All of them. Everybody's lying. And this is the thing about it with like these type of circumstances, right? It's sort of like if one person accuses Diddy or a person that's famous and has money and is influential and things like that, if one person comes forward and accuses them, that person just wants clout and money and whatever, right? And then if 40 people come out and accuse them, then 40 people, they all lied. Somebody lying. That's what will happen. So the victims of whatever crimes are caught in like a gotcha bag. If it's one, if it's 10, if it's 100, they're lying. These people are just piling on. It can't just be that this person is a monster. I don't understand why they have a tough time with believing that this man is a monster. It's interesting to me. Now, that being said, I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay. So everybody has the right to due process. And I believe that. And everybody has the right to, their day in court and to defend themselves, regardless of what I think. Okay. And I feel the way that I feel about Diddy because of my deep dives that I've done into this man's background. It's not lit. It's a dark place. It's a dark place. But don't take my word for it. Listen, go read the documents. Go read the lawsuits that describe beyond comprehension violence against people that have either no way to get out of the situation because they've been drugged. So they can't, if you're under the influence of anything, you can't consent. Period. You can't. So if you're coming to this man's party or his house or whatever it is, he wants to hang out with you and he tells you to come to this hotel and y'all gonna have a meeting and your hope is that, I've heard that this man is, a hit maker and I'm a singer and I want to, become this superstar. There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you believing that this person, especially if they've told you so, can help you reach your goals. It's no different than if you're online and you're applying for jobs and you have a headhunter call you and say, hey, listen, Chanel, I reviewed your da 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 da, or someone told me about you, or you left me a voicemail, or you sent in your resume, whatever their reason is for contacting you. And then saying, hey, I want to meet up with you to review whatever, and then convince you that, hey, listen, you have a shot at whatever job it is. We've all been there, right? If you're a professional, or even if you're a paraprofessional, even if you're working at the Wendy's or at the Taco Cabana, whatever, right? And someone says, "Hey, you put in an application and I reviewed it and I want to meet you." And then you know, meet with that person and it isn't what you thought it was. That it happens a lot. And I remember in the 90s when I was a kid, I remember like when people would get accused of things. Like I remember Robin Givens, I think is her name, was basically saying that her husband at the time, or boyfriend, I don't know if they were married, but I think it was her husband, Mike Tyson. Um, I could tell. I didn't recognize it as strongly as I do now, but she was frightened in that. I think she did a 2020 video or 2020 interview with Barbara Walters. Rest in peace, Barbara Walters. But you know, it was just kind of like she didn't even want to say that, you know, he really was violent with her, in my opinion. She was just kind of like, he pushes, you know, he kind of grabs. So whenever that came out, I probably was like 14, 15. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember, you know, people around, grown-ups, you know, saying, you know, she shouldn't have been in that man's hotel room at this time of night and this, that, and the third, and blaming her for what she's accusing him of doing to her. How am I to blame? Because this person was violating me. Just make it make sense. I'm to blame because I reported that this person has violated me. You know, and they're like, oh, she should have been there in the middle of the night because ain't nothing open but legs. Again, let's blame her. Let's take all of our attention away from him and what he did, allegedly. But let's focus on what she possibly, she seduced this man. Like he ain't grown too. He grown. Mm-hmm. Whole grown ass person. But we want him to get away with it for whatever reason in this society. We have a tough time with believing victims. And my only request is ask yourself why that is, especially if you're female, especially if you have kids. Why would you not believe your child? I'm going to talk about it a little later, but D.L. Hughley allegedly he's not even on speaking terms with his daughter because his daughter accused his D.L. Hughley's friend of violating her. He didn't believe her. How do you not believe your child? You're a whole man. You know how men think? Not all men. Let me be very clear. But just saying, they think about sex all day. Listen, chime down in the comments if you think that I'm wrong about that, because I know that I'm not. Yeah, they think about sex all day. It just is what it is. It's just a fact. Go read the studies on how long men during the day look at PORN at work. Go read the studies about it. It's a lot of time that they spend in that. So it is what it is. And I'm not saying that they don't have a right to, well, one, legally, or I won't say legally. Your company's policy probably says you can't spend your day or hours on the internet at work looking at PORN, but people do, and especially men. And that's all I'm saying. And I'm not, listen, if you can get away with it, do whatever makes you happy, but don't be surprised if you get terminated. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, I think that Diddy's delusional because his attorney is saying that. I think the attorney's delusional too, but at least the attorney is doing the attorney's job, which is he's supposed to poke holes in the prosecution story. He's supposed to stand up for his client. That's what he's supposed to do legally, right? So I get that, but it just makes you sound like such a sleaze. It's just delusional because he said that he believes that Diddy is going to Diddy's going to put himself, he's going to speak at his own trial. That's what the attorney has alleged. So let's finish listening to what the attorney has to say about Diddy. Did I leave the door open outside? Hold, please. I think I left I thought I closed the door. Child. Oh, did it mute itself? Hold on.
It's wrong, that it's actually giving him a form of strength and a form of confidence that this is where he is for now. We are trying to get this matter to trial as soon as possible. You know, he is so focused on trying to right this wrong that it's actually giving him a form of strength and a form of confidence that I think is going to get him through this difficult time period. There's an adage that we have in my office: don't tell me what I did wrong, tell me what I do next. And that's where he is.
Child. Stop it. They need to stop. I cannot. I absolutely cannot. I think it's interesting that his attorney, let's listen again. Hold on. What did he say? Let's see.
Giving him a form of strength, trying to get this matter to trial as soon as possible.
Oh,
you know, he is
say, okay. So as a victim or as a person who's been accused of whatever it is you've been accused of, your attorney can ask the court or request that the court allow them to have a speedy trial. And there's a reason why the court wants you to have a speedy trial. Hold on one second. There's always a reason why an attorney wants to do something. Doesn't matter which side they're on, whether they're the defense or the prosecution. So everybody has a right to a speedy trial. And it's also, from what the internet says, it's also crucial to ensuring that a criminal defendant receives a fair trial. If too much time elapses between the alleged crime and the trial, witnesses may die or they need to stop. They may die or leave the area, their memories may fade, and physical evidence may be lost. So these are some reasons that someone would request a speedy trial. But the law says a federal speedy trial act, or I'm sorry, these federal speedy trial act provides some instruction for federal cases. For example, it requires formal charges to be brought within 30 days of an arrest. So that's kind of why, you know, like if you ever watch crime TV, you'll see that they'll bring in people that they think are involved or might be a witness or could be a potential suspect, and they want to, you know, bring them in and interview them, right? And they really don't want those people to leave because they want to try to get as much information as possible and allow less time for that person, if in fact they believe that they're guilty of something, for them to think about it and get their story together and gather, you know, like their timelines and influence other people, or in cases like what's happening with Diddy, an opportunity to, what's the right word? Tamper with the witness or threaten them, things like that. So it says here, like I said, the Federal Speedy Trial Act provides some instruction for federal cases. For example, it requires formal charges. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And a lot of times you'll see, if you're watching a crime TV or like 2020 or something, you'll see that they try to keep whoever they feel is a witness and or maybe a person who is the actual criminal that can maybe become a suspect in that case. They try to keep them there. And part of the reason they want to keep them there because they want them to say something. They want them to tie themselves in some way to some timeline of what their sequence of events were that day, that night, whatever it is, when the crime happened. They want to tie you into it and they want to lock you in. And that's why attorneys will always say, do not say anything. Do not talk to the police, because you're going to incriminate yourself and they know that you are. So do the police, which is for criminals, bad news. For the rest of us who are not out here committing crimes, great news. We want you to lock yourself into something so that they can send you to jail. At least in my opinion, that's what I want. And they know that they only have a certain amount of time to keep those people there without charging them. That's why they want you to sit there and keep talking, and they're hoping, like I said, to lock you into some timeline, because they're going to ask you, where were you during this time? Did you see anything? Did you hear anything? They want to keep you talking. And many times you will see people get up and try to leave, and they don't say you have to stay unless they have 100% evidence that they know they can charge you. but they still want to get a confession, right? So they don't want you to leave. They want you to stay there on your own volition. They want you to stay there, and they want you to believe that they believe that you are innocent, and you're just here talking about what you saw and what you witnessed, and you didn't do anything, and you just want to help the police. And wrong. That is not that is not what is going on. And so, but detectives, they know that the longer they keep you there and you don't leave on, and knowing that you could leave, they know that it's going to make their case stronger. So they want to keep you talking. They want, like I said, they want to lock you into a timeline. And but they also know that if they don't have any real evidence against you, the longer they keep you there, they'll probably obtain some. They'll probably get you to say something that'll ask them to call you back in, right? And if you talk to your attorney before you're going in to speak to whomever, your attorney is going to tell you don't say anything. Or if you want to say something to clear your name, they'll say, well, we're going to go down there with you so that they can protect you and your rights. Because unfortunately and fortunately, criminals typically are stupid and they think they're smarter than other people. This is why I named my video Delusional. I think Diddy, in his mind, he really does believe he ain't do nothing. Whatever he did, listen, he did it well within his rights. He's not considering. That's why I say he also, to me, if I assess Diddy, I would say he has conduct disorder. People that have conduct disorder, you can Google it, they typically have a complete disregard for other people's welfare. People who have narcissistic personality disorder and things like that, they're not as terrible, I would say, on some level as someone with conduct disorder, because narcissistic people just think they're right about everything, and they really kind of have no empathy for whatever's going on. And they might have unrealistic expectations of people that they're with. They're very manipulative. They show one face to the world, and then the world thinks they're cool people, right? But to the person that's being manipulated by them, typically someone in a relationship with them, they're making them feel like they're wrong for saying something about what the narcissist did to them. But people with conduct disorder and antisocial disorder, they typically have no regard. They typically have already committed some sort of crime, usually physical harm to other people, before the age of 15, or at least by the age of 15. They have no problem with, committing crimes against people, property, they just don't have a regard for the lives of others. They just don't. And if everything Diddy is being accused of is true in these lawsuits, that to me is what, if I was his therapist, and I am an actual therapist, but if I was his therapist and I was assessing him, that's exactly what I would say. If all of this information that's coming out about him is accurate and true, it feels like he has a complete blatant disregard for human life. Because let me just say this too. If what he's being accused of is, I'm going to give people substances and they're unaware of it. Again, like I said before, you cannot consent if you're under the influence. You can't. Not in the court of law. Now, people can say, yeah, two people are somewhere getting drunk and they into each other, or whatever the case may be. That's different. Especially if you're in the mood if you're doing it and everybody's happy doing it, meaning everyone has given consent. That's very different from, I say, like, come hang out with me, and then when you come in the door, I hand you a drink, or you get in the limo, or whatever it is. I hand you a drink and you then feel woozy and you feel different, and you're like, yeah, I've drank before and this is not how I would typically feel. There's probably something else going on. And according to these lawsuits, that every lawsuit I've read, that is what happened to these people in generally speaking. That's how they kind of probably got videotaped. If videotapes, or I don't want to say audio, but if anyone was filming these victims, these alleged victims, then my opinion is that is the way that he kept the internet, I won't say the internet, but people quiet. It's blackmail. And honestly, you don't even have to be Diddy to do it. A lot of people who commit these types of crimes against victims, they threaten you a lot of times, and they use what they have on you or what other people assume you are against you. Oh, well, she was a slut anyway, so She had already had 14 boyfriends. She was giving VJs in the bathroom at the high school. So, how can we really say that, this man is wrong? She probably led him on anyways, or she said she was into it at first and then she decided she wasn't. If that person was into it at first and then decided they weren't, and you keep going forward, that is assault. Be clear. It just is what it is. Now, is it annoying to the person who's really into you and really, thought that they were gonna, be able to have sex with you, whatever it is? Yeah, I'm sure it is. But you don't have the right to continue to move forward with someone in a sexual manner who is no longer agreeing or is not conscious or is under the influence. It just is what it is. But back to the speedy trial, it says one of the main reasons for the right to a speedy trial is to prevent a defendant from being held in custody for a long time, only to eventually be found innocent. So for the people who are innocent and they're sitting in jail, and this has happened. I've seen many cases where this has happened, where you're awaiting trial, right? You're awaiting trial, and you're there for a year. Because it's not like what you see in the movies where, someone gets, accused of something and then they're hauled off to jail and handcuffed and all that, right? And they sit in jail waiting for a trial date for 2 years or a year. So that's what your right to a speedy trial is. But also, like I stated earlier, it's also, the more time that lapses, people's memories fade. Like they said, maybe someone moves away, they could perish, they may not be here anymore, things like that. So I do get that, but I don't think that's what Diddy's attorney is doing at all. I think Diddy's attorney just does not want Diddy in jail or in prison because Diddy doesn't want to be in prison, because Diddy doesn't think he did anything. These people are all lying on him is what he thinks. Remember he said, enough is enough. Cassie's lying, this attempt at, trying to smear my name. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah. So that's what his thing is. That's why his attorney wants a speedy trial, not because he believes, in my opinion, in Diddy's innocence. I don't believe that. So let's see what else Diddy's attorney has to say. Let me see. Let me go back.
Behind bars for a year, maybe even more. Client could.
Let me go back and share my screen yet again. Not D.L. Hughley, not this one. I think it's this one.
A year, maybe even more. Your client could be behind bars for a year, maybe even more, before this trial begins. What's his state of mind right now?
His state of mind is actually remarkably positive. I spend several hours with him every day. I'm going to leave you and go see him now. His resolve is strong. He's engaged. He's focused on his defense. And we see him every day, and he is come to terms with the fact that this is where he is for now. We are trying to get this matter to trial as soon as possible. He is so focused on trying to right this wrong that it's actually giving him a form of strength and a form of confidence that I think is going to get him through this difficult time period. There's an adage that we have in my office: don't tell me what I did wrong, tell me what I do next. And that's where he is.
Sure. They need to stop. But it's, listen, child, it's effective for some people. I think to me, it doesn't work on me because I know it's a bunch of BS. Now, I'm not saying that I know this man's guilt or innocence. I'm not saying that, but I know that what his attorney is saying is a bunch of BS. So let's move along to what I was saying earlier, is that Diddy is allegedly going to be in the middle of a class action lawsuit. So let's take a look at this video that is that I pulled up. This is kind of going to with regard to it. And let's just pause it here. This is what Diddy's attorney, Mark Angafilia, I'm not sure, I'm probably saying his name wrong, so I apologize. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire." It's the delusion for me. Now, this is what I mean by people trying to tap dance on your intelligence. They mix in some aspects of this person that is accurate with things that are inaccurate. So what has happened to me, this statement basically says that, he's been a philanthropist, and philanthropy basically means that you're a person of means typically, and you give to different causes. So maybe you have given money to, orphanages in your country or orphanages in other countries, or you've donated money to research on heart disease or Lyme disease, or the Cancer Association of wherever, dementia. It's a million things you could be philanthropic about, right? Or be involved in philanthropy. So anybody could give millions of dollars if they have it to whatever cause. Does that make them a good person? Not necessarily. A lot of times people who aren't good people do things like that, so that way they can build a reputation that is a farce. Something that isn't, it appears to be one thing and it's something different. So of course his attorney is going to say he's a proven philanthropist because he's given money or donated money at some point, allegedly, to some group or organization, right? So that's him mixing in something that appears to be great to cover for things that aren't, So it's sort of like, I don't know if you guys watch Oprah. Years ago, she had a guy on her show. He was some sort of faith healer, allegedly, where he would take I feel like a scalpel and like scrape people's eyelids or something like that, and allegedly cure them of whatever ailment they had. This was this man's con, right? And of course, because Oprah's Oprah, millions of people watched it, and millions of people believed this man because of the person that's delivering the information, right? So allegedly, it came to fruition. Well, it came to fruition. It was later found out that this man not only was not healing people, let's be very clear, but he also was scamming people, and he was violating people in a sexual manner. YouTube has all kinds of rules and regulations of what we can say or can't say. So I'm trying to be as candid as I can, but I have to be careful with what I say. So millions of people, even after that, still wanted to come and see this man. But anyways, like I said, it is what it is. So because he has had this reputation, and now he's attached to Oprah, it was almost like giving, God's blessing to this man. Yeah, of course, if Oprah said it, it has to be true, right? and then later found out. So clearly they didn't vet this man enough, or whomever did probably thought that they vetted him good enough. But then it came out that he was, taking people into back rooms and, basically manipulating them. I want to speak to you, privately. You can have a private meeting or session or whatever with me. And so when people come out and say and speak against it, if you have this persona of goodness and you're the good guy and a great person and you're a philanthropist, it's gonna be difficult for them to believe it because they're caught up in this persona that Diddy and others have put out to the public, right? Listen, I'm not a proponent for this man in any capacity, Diddy, but for all of these years, I never knew. I didn't know one thing about this man. I never thought, oh, I never viewed him as some icon or whatever. I never viewed him like that whatsoever. I just thought, okay, well, he produced Biggie and Total and some others. I think Mary J. Blige for a time and Jodeci allegedly and some other people, right? Some people who were heavily successful in the entertainment industry regarding like their music and stuff. So that's what I knew of this man, right? I didn't know anything. He was doing anything egregious. I found out with the rest of the world. Well, the rest of the world that didn't know, so I didn't know. But my only opinion about him before all of this was that, he was a successful entrepreneur and he started Bad Boy. And he seemed very successful, but also very thirsty. Thirst bucket. And I also thought because of Biggie, what Biggie had said, he would walk around when he was alive, rest his soul in peace. But he would say things like, oh, my man Puff is this, that, and the third. And Puff, he got me out of the, the street and the drugs and all that. So I thought, oh, Puff must be a good guy. How wrong was I? But again, that's his persona that he's putting out. So that's what I'm saying about this attorney trying to like swindle people into thinking that, this man, he's a philanthropist, he's this, that, and the third. Yeah, who tells the complete truth on their resume? Stop it. You want to get the job. You schmooze up whatever on your resume, right? You're going to add some stuff to it. Doesn't mean that you don't have the college degree that you're saying that you have. But maybe you didn't get a 3.0 or 4.0 GPA that you're trying to act like you're so smart and you're so intelligent to have gotten, right? But so accurate that you graduated doesn't mean that you're smart. Like I said before, C's and D's get degrees. But if you're going to go for a job, you're not going to put on there, yeah, I graduated with C's and D's. You're not. You're going to say, I graduated from whatever university. And that's what this attorney is attempting to do. He's attempting to use something that is factual to delude people and make people think, listen, look at all the good stuff this man has done. Yeah, same thing they tried with Epstein and Weinstein and Bill Cosby and R. Kelly and Donald Trump and on and on and on. Let's be clear. It's what it is. Let's continue to listen to what they have to say. Well, they're not saying anything, but the video is giving you kind of like a breakdown of Diddy and what he's done.
In a world of cheesy cravings, one snack is ready to answer the call. Experience Rico's creamy nacho cheese, action-packed crunch, and mouth-watering jalapenos that will keep your taste buds on the edge of their seat. Rico's Nachos, available at your local grocery and club stores.
Can we move past Rico's? Child, I don't know.
I was f***ed up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day.
Oh. Eyes.
Join Thomas the Tank Engine at Day Out with Thomas, the Bubble Tour, coming to a station near.
I apologize for showing that. I forgot that that was part of the video. But you get the point. It's like he's on the highway train to jail. Well, I'll say to prison because that's where he's headed. He's headed to prison. Oh, look, I need to put my little tag back inside you. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Whoop. This is my struggle wig. Leave me alone. I got to get me a new wig for Jamaica. I don't even feel like I was going to go into Ray J again, but I just don't even feel like it with him. Let's see what I have a little portion, I guess I wanted to play about from Diddy's attorney and what he said on this downfall of Diddy indictment. So let me go back and share that with you guys.
Indictment, now streaming on Tubi.
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent. And what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government. Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's Black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. You know, maybe I can show the world that a Black man can win, you know, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
Stop it. It's the malarkey and this high level gaslighting. High level gaslighting. High level. Sorry. It's the highest level of gaslighting I think I've seen. No, it's not. It's other people that have done the gaslighting. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's high level gaslighting. It's playing with people's intelligence. This man said, well, no, hold on, look. I don't want to get his words wrong. Let me go back and see if I can reload it. Oh, hold on. Okay. TMZ is reporting that Diddy's attorney, I'm sorry, that Diddy won't accept a plea bargain. And that Diddy's wants to fight the government's persecution of him. That's what his attorney is saying, but let's listen. Oh, well, I don't want to play this one. Oh, here we go.
Video over and over and over about what happens to women that won't change their stories.
I don't want to show that. That's terrible. Okay. Sorry. It's violent. I can't with violent people. But his attorney is saying, his attorney is like, Diddy wants to show that a Black man can stand up to the government trying to persecute a Black man. Let's be clear. This don't have nothing to do with being Black. Absolutely zero. It has nothing to do with being Black. It has everything to do with being prosecuted for egregious behavior. It don't have nothing to do with this man's skin color. It has to do with his actions. Do not be fooled, please. It has nothing to do with this man being black. It has nothing to do with this man being successful. It doesn't. It has everything to do with his horrid, egregious, savage behavior. It has to do with his alleged savage behavior against people who, at least from what the Southern District of New York is alleging, who were under the influence of something, who were seemingly kidnapped, held against their will. Who were violated physically and sexually. You don't want that person to be prosecuted and persecuted? Can Diddy come to your school and teach your children? For all of the people who sit on the internet and say Cassie lying and the victims are lying on this man and they just want to take down a black man. Y'all hiring him at y'all school? You want him to come work at your job? You gonna feel safe with someone with what Diddy's being accused of? You're gonna feel safe with someone hiring that person to come work at your job with you? Put it in the comments if you feel safe. I wouldn't. You feel safe that your child would go to school with someone like him? Because he's, according to his attorney, he's such a philanthropist and he's done all this good in the world. You gonna be cool if he come be the head of your company? He could be your what do you call it? Your employer, your new boss. If not, knock it all the way the fuck off. Defending this idiot. Okay. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about D.L. Hughley. So D.L. Hughley has come out and had something to say. I don't know that he used Diddy's name, which I think is telling, in my opinion. Because I'm like, why isn't, like I said, Hollywood is silent right now. I've never seen the music industry be this silent for this long. It's especially with the egregious crimes he's being charged with. But let's see what D.L. Hughley has to say about this situation with Diddy. Oh, I did not mean to do that.
His daughter being violated by one of his friends and how he failed as her father when...
That's not the one I was meaning to play. Sorry. But that is accurate from my understanding that D.L. Hughley, his daughter, said that one of his friends was sexually taking advantage of her, allegedly.
There are people, and any number of people are coming out with all these stories. You've heard them ad nauseum on different outlets, telling you about how they knew what was going on and how they were appalled. If you have a story to tell now, you could have told that story earlier. If you are telling a story about something you knew and you didn't do anything about it, you're not a witness, you're an accomplice. And these things can only happen with accomplices. These things can only happen with people who are willing to aid and abet as long as there's something in it for them. They're willing to look the other way or pretend like it didn't happen or to say nothing. The protection of womanhood requires that you may have to sacrifice something for yourself. You might have to do the right thing, even though it might cost you money. It might cost you an album. It may cost you something. But if we are going to say things like it is about the protection of womanhood, then that might require some level of sacrifice. I never have cared for Puffy. I always had an aura about him. I never have. I can't say that I've ever been in his company outside of the BET Awards, but he always seemed like that type of man. So seeing that video, as shocking as it was, for some reason didn't shock me at all. But the truth of the matter, there are a great many people who knew what was going on. A great many people who saw it. A great many people who could have said something and done something. A great many people. And you can tell who they are because now they're the ones with the story to tell. They're the ones, oh yeah, well, you know, it was, if you had a story to tell then, if you see something, say something, but not now, then. He beat that. If he had done that to my child, I would hunt him down flat out. That would happen. Protection of, it can't be just our woman. And all this silly stuff I hear about, if it had been a white one, no matter who it was, nobody deserves that. Nobody. Nobody deserves to be beaten senseless. And that's the thing about it is, most women in America are hurt or shot or beaten by men who share their bed with them. Men who claim to love them.
Mm-hmm.
Men who are in a romantic situation or a sexual situation or an intimate situation. So it's not uncommon. But if we're going to say things like the protection of womanhood is important, act like it all the time. Not just when a video comes out. Because before the video, oh, somebody trying to bring a brother down. Oh, let me tell you something. Bringing a brother, if I'm not trying to bring a black man down by trying to stop him from beating a black woman up, how does that happen?
Right.
It's a really simple thing for me. Always has. It always has been. I said it before and I'll say it again. I believe in my heart Kanye was stalking Kim. I said something. I believe Tory shot Megan. I said something. I believe Puffy beat Cassie and abused several other women. I said something. I believe Donald Trump is a sexual batterer. I said something. It's not that hard. If you see something, say something. But before people see a video. If you're going to protect them, say it when it counts, not when it makes you look good. That's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm not the biggest fan of DL. I never have been, if I'm being honest. But he has a point, a very valid one. And I love that he brought up this idea that people want to say, oh, if she was a white woman, oh, if it was this part, like this wouldn't have gone on, like that type of stuff. It's just like, doesn't matter. Those people, when people do that, those people are called deflectors. They want to deflect. They want to change the topic, change the subject, this is not an all lives matter moment. It's not. Stop it. This is about the takedown of a deviant. And let me read to you what that word means so that people don't get it twisted. A deviant is, let me pull it up. A deviant is a person. Oh, hold on. Okay. The meaning of deviant behavior is actions or behaviors that go against social norms or expectations, especially as it relates to sexual activity. Social norms or unwritten rules that a society or culture deems as acceptable. Any behavior that violates social norms or formal laws is considered deviant. This is what it is. A deviant is a person who has markedly different behavior from accepted norms. So basically, it goes all the way outside of what the average person or society culture would deem appropriate. So let me say this though about what Dia Hughley was saying. On some, there is one part that I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with. I do get what he's saying about, if you were around, you witnessed, you participated in this type of deviant behavior, and you knew what was going on. He said, "You're not a witness; you are a accomplice." So, to a degree, that's true, right? So, I do believe that is 100% true for those who were silent and said nothing to protect their own job or position in the entertainment industry. I 100% agree with that. Is 100% correct what he's saying. But there's a second part to it. As far as I believe, and I believe that there are people who witnessed certain things and didn't come forward for the same reasons that victims didn't come forward. Either A, they found out that, this man has either participated in or allegedly hired people to unalive others. He has a whole lot of people that are like 1 degree of separation from him that are no longer alive, including the original coroner who did Kim Porter's, who did the original autopsy on Kim Porter, allegedly. That man, that coroner who has done lots of people's autopsy reports, was removed from the case from Kim Porter and reassigned, and then no longer is alive. Just saying. So if you witnessed something and then you were aware after that of how terrible this person is, you've witnessed it firsthand, you don't want to become a victim as well. So you might not say anything. So that's the only part that I disagree with D.L. Hughley. His opinion about, like, if you saw something, you should have said something, and you don't say it now, you say it. You should have said it then. Again, if you are in fear of your own life and your own safety and the safety of the people that you love, I can't expect you to say anything. I can't. It's a natural response to fear, especially bodily harm of you or people you love. So that part, I'm not going to knock those people because they didn't say anything. Just like I'm not knocking Cassie for being in a 10-year, I wouldn't say she was in a 10-year relationship. I feel like that lady was just held captive because he's a domestic terrorist, in my opinion. And again, let me say this. Everything on Chanel's reality is, in my opinion, it is for entertainment purposes only, and it is all alleged. Okay? Because I don't want to I ain't trying to catch no lawsuit out here. Just saying. But I think that his point to what he's saying about all of the people who suddenly, have something to say is true. Like if you watch this malarkey, if you watched, Kim Porter get treated treacherously, if you watched other people, because according to Jaguar Raya, he treated a whole bunch of people terribly. But if you watched him treat other people horrifically and you said nothing, you did nothing, and because it's beneficial to you now to say something, then you say something. I agree with that's wrong. You're not a witness, you are an accomplice. If you were in fear of your life, that if you said something, then you might meet the same fate that Kim Porter met, or Tupac, or Biggie Smalls, or they call him Notorious B.I.G., or Craig Mack, or the list goes on and on and on. Like I said, the original person who did Kim Porter's autopsy, he's not with us anymore. Allegedly, according to Kid Cudi, his car was exploded. maybe you are like, you know what? I can't save anybody. And I get that. And I've heard people say, well, Kim Porter, she's just as bad because she didn't say anything. She didn't tell Cassie, blah, 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 whatever. Listen, Kim Porter couldn't save herself. If I can't protect myself, how am I supposed to protect someone else? That's why a lot of times, if you see people who are in relationships that are violent, especially women, and they have kids, they can't protect the children. How are they gonna protect them? They can't protect themselves. So I don't think it's fair to say that against people who are in fear as well. That being said, sometimes those people come forward after they witness X, Y, and Z because someone else has come forward, right? So if maybe you were violated however many 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever it was that Diddy violated you, or whoever it was that was with Diddy, because there was lots of people from what my research says that participated willingly. I'm not talking about the people that were drugged or given something and they weren't aware, but I'm talking about those that were, like in this latest lawsuit, it's like one of the most egregious, literally left me speechless. Literally left me speechless. Yeah, so it's like I can't be mad if this person is in fear of their life. How am I gonna be mad at them? How can I hold them accountable? They can't help themselves. So, my heart goes out to them. But for the people, this is what I was gonna say. So like if finally Cassie has the courage or the backing of the Southern District of New York, that this man is, once you put your lawsuit out, this man is going to go to jail, and we're gonna, they have a high track record of doing that, of conviction rate, then maybe other people feel like, okay, well, if Cassie did it, now I can say something, because then it won't just be me. Now the world knows. So if I say something, then maybe, people will believe me too. But if I say something without someone like Cassie, then maybe I end up no longer living as well. Like, unfortunately, seemingly, allegedly, Kim Porter's untimely passing. Because I don't see how anybody with any level of intelligence cannot see that there's something wrong here. There's something amiss. Why would a 47 or 48-year-old seemingly healthy person pass away of flu-like symptoms when she allegedly has access to a doctor? We don't live in a country where nobody has access to healthcare. It's quite the opposite. Now, healthcare is extremely expensive, and don't even get me down that rabbit hole of things that are unfortunate in our healthcare system. But I find it hard to believe that she couldn't go to the hospital if she was ill. And I believe she was ill, and I believe she could have gone to the hospital. What I'm saying is, we don't live in a country, and she wasn't in a situation that I believe she wasn't able to seek medical care, in the sense of, like, if she felt like she had flu-like symptoms, that she couldn't have gotten treatment and that she would have perished from those symptoms. Unless, Diddy, like I said, with his savage behavior, prevented it. I don't believe that lady passed away from flu-like symptoms, was able to go to the doctor and get treatment and still passed. I just don't believe that, and still passed away. No, I don't believe that. I believe something else was afoot. Just my opinion. I don't have, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe that lady who has access, or seemingly had access to some level of traditional Western medicine, would pass away at such a young age of natural causes. I don't believe that. Let's see. What else did I want to say before I get off of this live that's been going on for an hour and 24 minutes? I want you guys to chime down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Diddy's attorney believing that Diddy's going to testify in his own trial, and that this indictment is an attempt by the U.S. government to keep a black man down. Stop making this about the culture. This is not about the culture of black people. This is about Diddy and his alleged egregious behavior. Knock it off. Knock it all the way the fuck off. Like this don't associate. So listen, this is how the media can manipulate people, right? So I don't know if you guys remember the case about what's her name? Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson. We know that in America, we have a dark history with people of dark skin tones, right? There is a dark history. There's no denying that. We understand that racism and sexism, ageism is still alive and well in America. We do. And we also understand, well, at least I understand that if someone like Scott Peterson, who's a white man in America, is charged with the egregious unaliving of his then nine months pregnant wife. If he's charged with that, then the world and our media will report that this is what they will apply that to Scott Peterson. They are not going to apply that to all white men. That is not the same case for people of color. We know this, right? If some black man up the street that lives in your apartment complex commits the same type of egregious act that Scott Peterson was convicted of, they'll say it that with all black men. It is what it is. It's just a fact. Not everyone, but our media and our society will certainly do that. It is a fact. Go read the books about it. Go read the statistics. It is. But what Diddy's attorney is attempting to do is take that statistic and use it to try to manipulate the culture into believing that this isn't about Diddy. This is the conspiracy against this black, wealthy, successful man who is an entrepreneur and a philanthropist and this good doer in the world. That's what his attorney is alleging is happening. He is trying to, like I said, make this an all lives matter moment. This isn't about all black people. It's not about all black men. It isn't about anybody but Diddy and his salacious, egregious behavior against women and allegedly men, according to the Southern District of New York. That's what this is about. Stop trying to tap dance on people's intelligence and make it seem as though we believe that this is about our culture and this is about hip hop and we need to stand up for Diddy. I'm not protecting no man. Period. No, let me take that back. I'm not protecting any person that has this type of behavior. Pure point blank, end of story. It ain't gonna happen. It's not. So Diddy's attorney comes to the front. Shut the hell up with the malarkey and the gaslighting that you're doing. Last thing I want to touch on is, what do you guys think about the entire entertainment industry pushing the mute button? Because I haven't heard nothing from nobody. Until today, I heard about D.L. Hughley saying something. But even with D.L. Hughley, it still seems as though he did say about Diddy, he did mention his name, but a lot of them that have said one thing, and I haven't even heard a lot. I've heard a lot of content creators say things, but the people in Hollywood have not heard anything. It's like they're all on mute. Why are they all on mute? My guess is because D.L. Hughley, I'm sorry, not D.L. Hughley, is because Diddy has somebody on tape and they're believing that maybe it's them. Maybe they remember that the drink they took that time and didn't feel good and woke up next to alleged sex workers. They don't know where the tape is and they don't know. So they're like, I ain't gonna say nothing. But I do think, to me, the bigger thing that is glaring to me in the fact that Hollywood or the entertainment industry as a whole, film, music, TV, whatever, they all seem to be on mute. In my opinion, it feels like if we say nothing, then people will let it go, because we live in a 24-hour news cycle, right? And so all we need is the next story to come out, and now the people will have moved on. And Diddy's attorneys and Diddy and whomever else that might be dragged into this is hoping that that's what the public will do. That we will just like, like we do, create a hashtag about whatever. And then 2 weeks later, it's gone out of the news cycle. And so therefore no one cares. It's the world that we live in. They might be successful in it. And I'm praying that they're not. I pray that the judge will be very kind and allow us to view this. Even if it happens after. Maybe if they allow us to view some of the footage, some of the testimony after. I don't believe that they are, but I really would love it. Oh my God. I would love to see this play out so that people see exactly what has happened, exactly what he's accused of, and all of the unexplainable things that I feel like Diddy will not be able to explain if he testifies in his own trial. I would love to see what his face looks like while if he decides to testify, or when he feels like the people are lying on him, or wants the court or whomever or the jury to believe that he's being lied on. He's just being attacked because he's some black man. Doesn't have anything to do with him being black or him being a man. It has everything to do with this man's treacherous behavior that he hasn't really, in my opinion, according to the charges against him, being held accountable for at any time. And so he doesn't understand right now. A lot of the people that have something to say don't understand. Why now? Why are we bothering this man now? This is the reason what's happening to Diddy right now is the reason that they have statutes of limitation for sex crimes. So that men like Diddy don't have to go through this 30 years later. This happened 30 years ago. So we don't want him. We want him. Listen, he's built a life. He has, been philanthropic. He has a family. He's given, his time and energy, and he's successful and whatever else. Why are you taking this man down now? Why are you doing it? That's why they have statutes of limitation. So that when Diddy or people like him, savages, do whatever it is they do to violate others, we have to leave that in their past. We can't bring it up now. That's why they have statutes of limitations. And you have to ask yourself this, because I know I asked myself this. I said, why on earth, when I heard about it, before Cassie even put forth her lawsuit, when I heard that the Southern District of New York said that victims can come forward, they have 1 year to come forward. The reason that stood out of my brain immediately, because like I told you guys, I've worked with victims of sex crimes, right? I know that typically by the time the victim is able to come forward or feels, safe enough or whatever it is that they have the courage to come forward, the limitation has passed. The statute that time frame has passed. Perpetrators know that, and so do attorneys that defend these perpetrators. They're fully aware of it. So, like I said before, it's there to protect the perpetrator. It's not there to protect the victim. Why would you limit the victim and not the perpetrator? But you're limiting what the victim can say about the perpetrator because you want that perpetrator to be able to go on with their life. You want, as Diddy attorneys said, you want this man who's a philanthropist, who's built a life from himself, and he's successful in all these things. You don't want the victims to be able to interrupt it. These are the facts, and they are undisputed, in my opinion. That's what happened. That's what his attorney is saying. That's what the statute of limitations is saying to victims. That whenever this person has violated you, you should have said something then. Since you didn't, we need to let this person go on with their life. They can't have this we can't hold this over their head for the remainder of their life. But I can have to deal with whatever emotional distress this person's savage behavior has caused me for the remainder of my life. I don't get protection from that. Why does this person get protection from me if I'm a victim? Why? Again, who set up the laws? So when I heard the Southern District of New York say that, I said to myself, why are they doing that? Not because I wasn't happy. I was definitely happy, but it felt like something else is afoot here. Immediately, I was like, That don't make any sense. And the other thing I said to myself is, why aren't they doing, if they can do it in the Southern District of New York, why can't they do it in every state, all 50 of them? And why only a year? Again, why are we limiting it? That's my dog, guys. He's clearly dreaming about something. I don't know. He's bargaining at somebody in his dream, interrupting my life because he's disrespectful. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought to myself, because I've always been saying, why are we limiting the victim's right to charge someone to come and say criminally, this person has violated me? Why are we doing that? And if the Southern District of New York can do it, can say, we're going to give everyone a year, which is no time at all, really, in my opinion. But I'm glad that they did it. The reason I say that is because what about the people that just got violated within that year? You're only giving them a year to come forward, and they're probably not ready yet. I'm just saying, or scared, or whatever the case may be. But I then said to myself, if they can do it, why can't they just let the rest of the victims in all the other states do it? And then when Cassie when she filed her lawsuit, and it was seemingly settled in 24 hours. Fastest lawsuit I ever seen in history, but just saying. Then I said, oh, especially when they raided his home. Then I was like, oh, his homes, let me say it like that. I was like, oh yeah, the reason that they did that, this is my personal opinion. I don't have any facts about this, but in my opinion, the reason the Southern District of New York was able to get that, probably because I'm sure had to go through some legal, I'll say legalities to get that, right, approved. They had to have had some strong case to be able to get that approved, in my opinion, against Diddy. Strong evidence. So to me, I'm kind of like, they raided his home. Okay. And the way that they did it makes sense. They had a case and they wanted victims to come forward to help them solidify it. And they've done an excellent job so far. Please, whoever presiding over the case, please let us see it. We want to be entertained. We want to know the facts more than entertainment, but I'm just saying, I would love to see it. So again, tell me what you guys think about what D.L. Hughley had to say. Because like I said, he said that his daughter, my understanding is that his daughter stated or accused D.L. Hughley's friend of sexual deviancy with her, and he didn't believe her. And then Monique came out and said something about it. Child. I mean, listen, Monique has the right to come out and say whatever she wants to say, and so does D.L. Hughley. At least in the United States of America, we have the right to freedom of speech. So she has the right to say it, but just because you have a right, don't make it right. But I'm glad she said it, because I mean, that to me made him look like a hypocrite. Just my opinion here on Chanel's Reality. Hit that like button, guys. If you like the content that you're viewing, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Chanel's Reality. Again, I want to say, if you are a victim of some sort, or if you're in some sort of crisis, then you can certainly call 988 or dial 988, and there's someone available to talk to you, or you can text with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This video can be very triggering, so just know that, even though we're at the end of it, there's help out there for you. Okay, guys? And everything, like I said, let me say this one more time. In this video is alleged, and it is, in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. Chime down in the comments, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.